They were on their way to a party, but what they did instead rewrote the night, and possibly saved a life. The car hummed along the darkened country road, a ribbon of asphalt unwinding beneath its tires. Inside, laughter and the thrum of an upbeat pop song filled the space, a stark contrast to the quiet chill of the late autumn evening pressing against the windows. Elara, nestled in the passenger seat, offered a soft smile as Chloe, in the back, recounted an exaggeratedly dramatic story about her day. Sam, at the wheel, chuckled, his eyes occasionally flicking to the rearview mirror. Elara was, by nature, the quietest of the trio. Her friends often joked she absorbed the world rather than broadcasting to it. Tonight, she was dressed in a deep emerald velvet dress, simple but elegant, her dark hair pinned up in a way that exposed the delicate curve of her neck. She was looking forward to Maya's birthday party. It had been a long week at work, and the thought of an evening with friends, music, and carefree conversation was a welcome one. Yet, even as excitement for the party simmered within her, a part of her mind remained alert, an occupational habit she couldn't quite switch off. Before they had left her apartment, her gaze had lingered for a moment on the professional-grade trauma kit stowed neatly in the trunk of her own car, a silent reassurance she rarely verbalized. Chloe had caught the glance and teased, always prepared, "Elara? You bringing your stethoscope to the dance floor?" Elara had just smiled faintly. It wasn't about the dance floor, it was about the unpredictable spaces in between. "Are you sure this shortcut is actually shorter, Sam?" Chloe leaned forward, peering into the gloom ahead. "It feels like we're heading into the land of no return." The trees pressed closer to the road here, their bare branches like skeletal fingers against the inky sky. Sam tapped the GPS on his phone, mounted on the dashboard. "Relax, Chloe. It shaves off a good 15 minutes. Less traffic, more scenic though. In the current darkness, scenic was a generous term. The air in the car was warm, a cozy bubble against the encroaching night. Elara watched the shadowy landscape slide by, a sense of vague unease prickling at the edges of her awareness, a feeling she couldn't quite name. It was just a feeling, perhaps the unfamiliarity of the road, or the way the headlights tunneled into the oppressive darkness, revealing little beyond the immediate path. What happened next would shatter that fragile peace and thrust Elara's hidden depths into stark, urgent view. They rounded a particularly sharp, unlit bend, Sam muttering something about the road's poor banking. And then, there it was. A scene of sudden, brutal chaos. Two cars, one a dark sedan, was mangled almost beyond recognition, steam or smoke coiling from its crumpled hood like a malevolent spirit. The other, a smaller hatchback, was askew, half on the narrow shoulder, half in the ditch, its hazard lights blinking erratically, a frantic, mechanical pulse in the overwhelming silence that had abruptly descended. Debris, twisted metal, shattered glass glinting like scattered diamonds in their headlights, unidentifiable dark shapes, littered the cold asphalt. There were no other vehicles, no distant sirens, just the chilling tableau of destruction under the indifferent gaze of the stars. The music in their car died as Sam slammed on the brakes, the vehicle skidding slightly before coming to a halt a safe distance from the wreckage. For a frozen moment, none of them spoke, the cheerful party atmosphere instantly vaporized, replaced by a cold dread. Then, Elara's training, years of it, surged to the forefront, a calm, clear wave washing over the initial shock. "Sam, call 911 immediately," she commanded, her voice devoid of its earlier softness, now imbued with an unexpected authority. "Tell them exactly where we are, or as close as you can pinpoint. Two vehicles, likely serious injuries." As Sam fumbled for his phone, his face pale, a figure emerged from the shadows of a driveway belonging to a dimly lit house set back from the road. It was an older man, his silhouette stooped, wringing his hands. Mr. Henderson, as they would later learn his name, rushed towards them, his voice quavering. "Oh, mercy, mercy! I heard the crash. It was terrible." He peered at the smoking sedan, then at Elara, Chloe, and Sam, who were now illuminated by the interior light of their car as Sam spoke urgently to the dispatcher. His gaze, clouded with panic, landed on Elara, taking in her party dress, her youth. "Oh, you poor young things," he lamented, his voice cracking. You shouldn't be seeing this. It looks hopeless. There's nothing anyone can do until the proper help arrives. Elara barely registered his words. Her mind was already triaging, assessing. She unbuckled her seatbelt. Chloe, my big first aid kit is in the trunk of my car, but there's a smaller one under my seat. Get it? Sam, when you're done with the call, grab the blankets from the back. Her instructions were precise, delivered with a calm that seemed almost unnatural given the horrific scene before them. Her friends, shocked into action by her composure, moved to obey. Mr. Henderson, however, continued his lamentations, his presence more of a distraction than a help. It's too dangerous, miss, he exclaimed as Elara opened her door and stepped out into the cold night air, the scent of gasoline and something acridly burnt assaulting her nostrils. You must wait for the professionals. They'll know what to do. She ignored him, her focus absolute. The world narrowed to the twisted metal of the closest car, the sedan. Every instinct honed by countless hours in emergency rooms and ambulance bays screamed at her. She approached cautiously, her party shoes crunching on unseen debris. The driver, a young woman, was slumped against the steering wheel, unconscious. Elara's gloved fingers, she'd pulled a pair from a small pouch in her evening bag almost without thinking, went to the woman's neck, searching for a pulse. It was there, thready but present. Breathing, shallow. No immediate signs of catastrophic external bleeding, but the mechanism of injury was severe. The dashboard was crushed inwards. Can you hear me? Elara asked, her voice calm and steady, though she didn't expect a response. She quickly scanned for hazards, leaking fuel, the integrity of the vehicle. Mr. Henderson had followed her, his anxious chattering a constant, unnerving background noise. They'll never get here in time on this road, he fretted, gesturing vaguely. It's a death trap, this bend. Always said it was. He squinted at Elara, his brow furrowed with a mixture of concern and doubt. Are you quite sure you know what you're doing, dear? You seem so very young to be handling something like this. Perhaps we should just wait. His words, though likely born of genuine fear and a desire to protect, felt like tiny barbs, questioning her competence at the worst possible moment. Chloe returned with the first aid kit, her face a mask of worry, while Sam, having ended the call, was pulling blankets from their car. They said they're dispatching everyone, Elara, but it could be 10, maybe 15 minutes. We're pretty far out. The information confirmed Elara's worst fear. They were on their own for a critical window of time. The trapped woman's life was teetering, and the minutes were stretching into an eternity. Elara's assessment continued. She noted the angle of the woman's head, the strained quality of her respirations. Something was obstructing her airway, or soon would be. The stakes were brutally clear. Inaction was not an option. A wave of adrenaline, cold and sharp, coursed through Elara. This was it. The moment where training met raw reality, stripped of the controlled environment of a hospital or an ambulance. She felt the weight of Mr. Henderson's skeptical gaze, the fear in her friend's eyes, but overriding it all was an intense, almost tunnel-visioned focus on the woman slumped in the driver's seat. He sees a girl in an emerald dress, she thought, a fleeting, almost irrelevant acknowledgement of his perspective. He doesn't see the years of relentless study, the grueling shifts, the lives she had fought for, sometimes won, sometimes lost. He couldn't see the steel in her spine, forged in the crucible of countless emergencies. Suddenly, a new sound cut through the tense silence, a soft, gurgling noise from the trapped driver. Her breathing, already shallow, became visibly more labored, her chest hitching with the effort. Elara's heart hammered against her ribs. The airway was becoming critically compromised. There was no more time to wait, no more time for debate. Delay now meant an almost certain fatality. She knew she had to perform a delicate maneuver, a modified jaw thrust, to open the airway without risking further injury to a potentially damaged cervical spine. It was a procedure that required skill, precision, and a steady hand, even under ideal conditions. These were far from ideal. Mr. Henderson, witnessing the woman's deteriorating state, cried out, his voice cracking with alarm. "Don't touch her. You'll make it worse. You'll paralyze her." His panic was escalating, threatening to derail Ilara's concentration. This was the tipping point. Ilara straightened slightly, turning her head just enough to meet Mr. Henderson's frantic gaze. Her voice, when she spoke, was not loud, but it resonated with an unshakable, steely authority that sliced through his hysteria and startled even Chloe and Sam. "Sir," she said, her tone level and devoid of any tremor, "I am a trained paramedic. I need you to step back, or if you wish to help, take this flashlight from my friend and hold it steady right here." She gestured towards the interior of the car with a subtle nod. "Sam, I need you on her head. Gentle cervical stabilization, just as I showed you once, remember? Keep her head and neck perfectly still, aligned with her body." For a beat, Mr. Henderson simply stared, his mouth agape. The young woman in the party dress had vanished, replaced by a professional in command. The transformation was so absolute, so complete, that it momentarily stunned him into silence. Chloe, sensing the shift, quickly pressed a small, powerful LED flashlight into his trembling hand. He took it almost mechanically, his earlier objections dying on his lips. Sam, his face pale but determined, moved carefully to the driver's side, reaching through the shattered window to support the woman's head as Ilara had instructed. With her team, however makeshift, in place, Ilara leaned into the car. Her movements were economical, precise. Carefully, expertly, she positioned her fingers, applied gentle, upward pressure at the angles of the woman's lower jaw. The seconds stretched, taut and heavy. Then, the gurgling sound ceased. A shallow, but blessedly clear, breath hissed from the woman's lips. Her chest rose, then fell, then rose again, more steadily this time. A collective, unspoken sigh of relief seemed to shimmer in the cold night air. Ilara had done it. She had cleared the airway, brought the injured woman precious, life-sustaining minutes. And just then, as if summoned by the resolution of this immediate crisis, the distant, unmistakable wail of sirens began to pierce the silence, growing steadily louder. Mr. Henderson, still holding the flashlight, lowered it slightly, his gaze fixed on Ilara with a mixture of awe and disbelief, the beam wavering in his unsteady hand. What happened next was the arrival of the cavalry, but the most critical battle, Ilara knew, had already been won. The first ambulance, closely followed by a fire truck, pulled up, bathing the scene in flashing red and blue lights. Doors opened and seasoned professionals spilled out, their movements efficient and practiced. The lead paramedic, a man named Captain Miller, his face etched with the experience of countless such nights, took in the scene with a quick, appraising glance. Ilara, her emerald dress now smudged with dirt and something darker, calmly providing a concise handover, the visibly stabilized victim in the wrecked sedan, Chloe and Sam standing by, looking exhausted but relieved, and Mr. Henderson, looking utterly dumbfounded. Captain Miller listened intently as Ilara detailed her assessment and interventions, the technical medical language flowing easily from her lips despite her incongruous attire. Possible C-spine, airway was compromised, managed with a jaw thrust, vitals were X, Y, Z before intervention, stable since. No other immediate life threats identified on primary survey, she reported, her voice calm and professional. He nodded, asking a couple of pointed, technical questions, which Ilara answered with precision and clarity. Mr. Henderson, finding his voice, stammered to one of the firefighters, she saved her. I didn't think, she just took complete charge. Amazing. Captain Miller looked directly at Ilara, a flicker of profound respect in his weary eyes. Good work, he said, his voice gruff but sincere. Very good work. You absolutely kept her alive until we could get here. He asked for her name and the unit she worked with. As the firefighters began the complex process of extricating the woman from the twisted metal, Miller remarked, You've got excellent instincts and remarkably steady hands, especially under pressure like this. Ever thought about transferring to a busier urban unit? We could use someone with your composure. Chloe and Sam, standing nearby, practically vibrated with pride for their friend. Ilara merely offered a small, tired smile and a nod. The acknowledgement, coming from a veteran like Miller, felt more significant than any formal commendation. As the organized chaos of the rescue operation took over, Ilara finally allowed herself to step back. A profound wave of exhaustion, bone deep and complete, washed over her, the adrenaline ebbing away like a receding tide. The immediate crisis was past. The young woman, whose name they would later learn was Sarah, was now in the capable hands of a full emergency crew. A sense of immense relief settled over Ilara, accompanied by a quiet, internal affirmation of her skills, her purpose, and her calling. The party dress felt utterly irrelevant now, a mere costume shed in the face of life and death reality. In the days and weeks that followed, the story of the paramedic in the party dress began to circulate within the local emergency services community, a tale of unexpected heroism. Ilara's own captain, upon hearing the full account from Captain Miller, formally commended her for her quick thinking and life-saving actions in the face of extreme circumstances. The young woman she had saved, Sarah, after a challenging surgery and weeks of recovery, made it her mission to find and personally thank the off-duty paramedic who had been her first responder. The meeting, when it finally happened, was profoundly emotional. Sarah, her eyes filled with tears, simply held Ilara's hands and whispered, "You gave me back my life. How can I ever thank you?" For Ilara, that raw gratitude was the most meaningful reward, a powerful reinforcement of why she had chosen this demanding path. The stark contrast between Ilara's elegant evening attire that night and her decisive, highly skilled medical intervention became a point of discussion, subtly challenging long-held stereotypes about appearance and capability. People like Mr. Henderson, who had initially dismissed her based on her youth and her dress, now saw her, and perhaps others like her, in an entirely new, respectful light. He even made a special trip to her station a week later, not with anxious pronouncements, but with a box of homemade cookies and a clumsily written thank you card that spoke volumes. The dangerous, unlit bend on that remote country road also received renewed attention from the local council, with talks beginning about installing warning signs and improved lighting, a small but significant systemic change spurred by that near tragedy. The core themes of that unforgettable night resonated deeply. It became a clear testament that courage does not adhere to a dress code, that profound skill and life-saving expertise can reside beneath the most unassuming exterior. Ilara's quiet, focused confidence in the face of escalating panic and severe trauma proved far more potent and effective than the loudest expressions of fear or doubt. Her actions served as a powerful reminder that it is often the calm, prepared individual who can truly make the difference when seconds count, when a life hangs precariously in the balance. The party they had been so eager to attend was long forgotten, overshadowed by an experience that had irrevocably marked them all, solidifying friendships and reaffirming Ilara's deep-seated commitment to her profession. Ilara continued her work as a paramedic, perhaps carrying herself with a touch more quiet assurance, the memory of Sarah's recovery a warm ember in her heart, fueling her passion for the demanding, often heartbreaking, job she did. Her friends, Chloe and Sam, who had witnessed her transformation from their quiet companion into a life-saving force, viewed her with an even deeper layer of admiration and respect. The night they were supposed to be dancing and laughing at a party had instead become a crucible, forging something far more lasting and significant. So, what is the lesson in Ilara's story? It's a powerful reminder to never judge a book by its cover or a hero by their attire. True capability, genuine courage, and the expertise to save a life can be found in the most unexpected people, in the most unlikely of situations. Professionalism and heroism are not confined to a uniform, sometimes they are found in an emerald velvet dress on a dark country road. It teaches us that one person's quick thinking, their refusal to stand by when they have the skills to act, can indeed rewrite a tragic ending into a story of hope and survival. Share this story if you believe that heroes come in all forms and that judging someone by their appearance can mean overlooking their greatest strengths. Let it remind you that compassion, coupled with competence, can quite literally change the world, one life at a time. And perhaps, most importantly, if you possess a skill that can help another in dire need, do not hesitate. Your moment to act, to make that critical difference, may arrive when you least expect it. Be ready.